You?
I am good. Happy Valentine's Day.
Happy Valentine's Day to you too.
Awesome, awesome. We have some fun things to talk about with
We do. I was just thinking, when is the last time I've seen you?
uh
Like
in person
in
or
the
on
flesh, in the
FaceTime. It was a
flesh,
couple days ago.
in the flesh.
It's been a minute. It has been
It just kind
a
of dawned
minute.
on me because I was like, 'cause I have to plan a Nashville trip for March. I was like, man, I think it's actually been a second here.
It definitely has been. So, well, Haley, it is top of the hour, so let's get started. Guys, good morning. It is Tuesday, 11 a.m. Eastern, 10 a.m. my time Central. I am Jason Poole. I am a travel advisor with Cruise Planners and just love talking about all things travel. Today, we're talking about things that we love. I love doing this show every Tuesday with my co-host up in upstate New York. Haley, good morning. Why should people listen to you with
I,
travel? Tell people what you do.
well, first I have to correct you because people out here got hots for tots. We are not upstate. We are Western New York.
Oh gosh, sorry. Sorry.
We're almost as bad as the people in the boroughs here.
You know what? I was probably just thinking of Hamilton. You're not joining us upstate.
It is. I mean, I totally run with it and don't care and vibe, but there are so like people in New York
Okay.
are very regionally based. So I just had to
Okay.
stick on that one. So my name is Haley. I own a hotel sales support company called Hospitality with a Flair, and I travel blog because I just don't like having free time and love traveling all over the world, just like Jason. And this is our look into what Jason and I talk about probably 6+ hours a day.
Yeah, that is very true. Well, let's get started. Haley has put together some questions that we'll go back and forth asking each other. We'll both answer them.
And we
Um,
want you guys to answer too in the comment section. Now,
yes.
remember, if you're watching on Facebook, be it on my Facebook,
Mhm,
Jason's Facebook, in the Facebook group Today in Travel, which is probably the best place second to YouTube to watch it.
mhm.
We don't know who you are commenting on Facebook. So make sure you put your name in your comment because we don't always see it. And if you are commenting from Jason's page, we actually don't see it at all
Well, no,
because
I'm actually
not,
I
he's
worked
not the
around it.
base subscriber to the service. So
No,
make
I've done
sure
a workaround, Haley. I can see it now. I know how to, we're good.
we're
We're
working
good.
on it, but YouTube, we will see it. So feel free to answer along. Today is a fun one. News was kind of sparse, and since it's Valentine's Day, we're going to go over things that we love. And I don't want eye rolls for this first question because the second part of the question, I think, is the more important piece.
Okay.
So, which airline do you love and why?
Virgin Atlantic.
Ooh,
I
tell me
wish
more.
Virgin I wish Virgin Atlantic had more flights that weren't all centered around London. I wish they had the footprint that like BA did, right? So I just find them to be very posh, very modern. I've only flown them twice. Both were on the new A330, one of the new Airbus planes. I loved it. Now, the real answer you're probably looking for is Delta, of course. But I really do love
I
Virgin.
think
And,
Journey with Josh put the eye roll in here, but I bet you he was not expecting me to
no,
say
I mean, but Virgin's great.
Virgin
I mean, I'll be
Atlantic.
honest. If I have a choice between Virgin or Delta, like I'm probably gonna fly Virgin, and I'm excited for you to do it soon. But
Yes.
of course, 90% of the time, even more, I'm on Delta. And guys, like I have to tell you, like when I was flying home from Ecuador after the Galapagos, Delta kind of messed up, right? They changed our planes last minute. Our Delta One got downgraded to first class because of equipment change. I was not pleased, obviously, but it was a midnight flight. I wanted to sleep through the night, wake up and land at 5. Guys, Delta, uh, the amount of credits and refunds I received it truly shocked me. Shocked me. So, I mean, maybe that's just good customer service. Maybe it's my diamond status probably helped. Maybe it's both. But Virgin, I love, but I'm loyal to Delta. obviously. So Haley, tell us why you are a big fan of
United.
Frontier. Okay.
Same. No, just kidding. So obviously a Delta girl as well. But for me, we've all talked on this channel on how when you go metal to metal, there's not a huge difference in the plane. I've been on some really dusty old, should not probably still be in service Delta planes that I'm not thrilled with. I've been on a newer American plane, which I thought was great.
Hmm.
For me, aside from the soft product, it's the credit card transfer.
Hmm.
And so many of the non-airline specific travel cards out there travel to some form of a Sky Team member.
Yeah.
And
Okay.
most of the main Sky Team members, do the status kind of carry over with perks and whatnot. So that's personally why I like it. I also have a Chase Sapphire card that I don't use as much, but I can transfer to Air France and KLM
Right.
with those. I can transfer to Virgin Atlantic with that card. Not to mention all my various amounts of American Express cards that I have now. But for me, it's that ease of transfer and use of my rewards
Yep.
that I think kind of, aids to that soft product love and whatnot. I mean, if you have a loyalty status with any of the major airlines, they're all going to be very comparable. Um, but it's all those little things that add up with that credit card points being able to.
And I'm gonna give a shout out at least to I know American is this way. I mean, United loyalty program still kind of confuses me a little bit, but American, I gotta give them credit. Their loyalty program has really been quite simplified, right? I mean, you just basically earn points, right? And your credit card gives you. I mean, you can almost just like buy your way into status with the points, right? And it's in some ways the American is. I give them credit for making it simple, or they simplified it. So I mean, kudos to American for it's just literally just the dial. You spend your credit card at the point, you fly, it's 5 points, 10 points, whatever kind of class you're in. So kudos to American, I think, for
My only
simplifying it.
struggle with American is that kind of that transfer ability and kind of
Yeah.
in one world. I almost called it third world, like I tease Jarvis. Like the Avios, like I get a headache figuring out Avios. Like it's just not easy. We do have a little question here I think is fun. So Journey with Josh says, not to be nosy, but how many credit cards do you have? I personally have the Sapphire, I have the Delta Reserve, the Amex Gold, and the Amex Platinum. I do have a random Discover card, but those are my for the eye roll. What do you have for travel cards? You just have the Delta and the Platinum, or
Yeah, I have the Platinum Delta Amex and the Platinum Amex.
and one of the things I will say. Oh, and did I say Chase Sapphire when I was going off on that?
Hmm.
Chase Sapphire. Okay. If you are somebody, and we talked about this, I think last week or the week before, that only travels a couple times a year, that Chase Sapphire card is such a great kind of entry travel credit card because you get that. It's a $99 annual fee. You get that perk of global entry and pre-check, which takes care of your fee that first year, anyways. And they've had sign-on bonuses from anywhere from 80 to 100,000 points, depending. But they have Hyatt transfer, which is actually what I just used some points for because my brother is graduating down in New York City this May. And there are zero employee rates anywhere in like a 30-mile radius. So I'm staying at Resorts World
Oh, okay.
with my
Okay.
dad. I used it for a suite.
I've
And they
stayed there. It's a nice property.
it's super nice. And having that Hyatt transfer is great because they still have the actual category chart and they're not dynamic like Hilton and Marriott. And there's a lot of airline partners on there. Also, like Southwest is on there as a partner. I'm very sure JetBlue is. United, you have Virgin Atlantic, KLM, Air France. It's a great little entry one for those that are interested. But Jason,
Nice.
what is a dream trip that you would want to take with someone you love? And someone you love doesn't always have to be a partner. It could be maybe the person you spend most of your day talking to about travel.
I mean, I was gonna say, I don't know. I mean, going to Hawaii, island hopping the islands, doing a trans-Pacific cruise. That was that was a trip I want to do with someone I love. So I'll be honest. So after just coming back from
Bucket list
a
trip.
bucket list trip, very excursion based, right? I would really love to do another kind of bucket list, like an Antarctica, right? With someone that I loved. I think that would be just a great place to build memories, go to Antarctica.
Yeah,
I,
I'm not gonna lie, Antarctica's really been pushing up on my list. Like when you first mentioned it to me when we talked about places we want to go and see,
mhm.
I was like, I could be talked into it, not maybe, but like the more and more I see through the beauty of social media, I'm like,
If you follow Silver Sea's Instagram account, they post it's like Princess Post Alaska nonstop, right? And celebrity post
well,
Caribbean Met,
I
and
I
Silver's just
think
like Antarctica, Antarctica,
well,
Antarctica.
I think that's kind of the benefit coming out of the pandemic, and I hate having to use that phrase still, but I think it changed a lot of people.
It did.
And we'll talk about that a little later on. But like the people that maybe used to go to Myrtle Beach every April are
Hmm.
like, you know what? No, I need to like
Hmm.
see other things.
Yep, I agree. So, where would you like to go with someone you love?
You know, the other place that is calling my name is that Southeast Asia. I don't know if it's going to be a cruise of Southeast Asia or a couple week adventure of Southeast Asia. Um, that would be one. I would love to do a Nile River cruise. That's a big one for me. And honestly, I've also been kind of peaking on wanting to do a safari.
Yeah, it's funny. So when I was on the Flora, the people there were very well traveled, right? And a number of people had done safaris and they in Africa, and they said it was just a similar level experience of like the Galapagos, as far as just like changing them, seeing something totally different. So I I, I kind of agree. I used to kind of be like, would I really like an African safari? I don't know. But after going, spending you know a week in the Galapagos, I'm like, yeah, I would do it, right? So like, I'm not afraid of doing active outdoorsy stuff, especially if it's something that's just completely different, right? And look, I have the clothes to do it now, finally, right? I don't have to go hike through Alaska in my
Are
Prada.
they now in a box in your closet?
No, it's a long. No, the answer is no. It's a long story. I almost did it. It's a long story.
Ooh, Journey with Josh says Japan.
Yeah, Japan would
I
be
can
great.
get on with that. And honestly, another thing that I'm kind of itching to do is I mean, it's not the most difficult thing, but I would like to do a little bit more World War II history stops through Europe,
Okay.
kind of grandfather's footsteps
Yeah.
kind of thing. Let's see here. What is something you used to love in travel but don't anymore? This could be airline, this could be hotel, this could be experiences you've used to do. Um, what is something you used to love?
So
Kind of silly to you, maybe.
yeah, so I used to love Southwest.
Okay.
Living in Nashville, Southwest has a major presence in Nashville, right? So we can get a lot of non-stops from BNA, which is right down the road from me. And I always used to do Delta for long haul. Like when I flew to Honolulu to meet you, I flew Delta. When I would go to Europe, I would fly Delta. Like I'd always use my miles. Like I wasn't really aiming for status back then. I would just like, oh, I have a lot of credit card points. I'll just redeem them, go to Europe for free. I used to do that all the time, right? And so I would fly Southwest to like Fort Lauderdale, for Caribbean cruises, and Delta to go see you in Hawaii or go to Europe, right? And every time I flew Delta, I always enjoyed the experience more. just like, God, I hate connecting through Atlanta all the time, right? So this was back in the day when Southwest really was substantially less expensive. Now they're really not that much of a savings versus a legacy carrier, right? So Southwest was something I used to really enjoy. Um, I used to be totally okay with a limited service hotel experience until we keep talking about Hawaii. I don't know why, but until you took me to Honolulu. So, guys, I used to be fairly cheap on hotels, right? It's just a bed. That doesn't matter. It's just a bed. So, Haley dragged me to Honolulu pre-pandemic, and we stayed at this beautiful Hilton
Yeah, it's a
property.
Hilton resort.
Hilton property in the Waikiki Beach area, and while that area is a little touristy, that property is
That property is
it's
a great
beautiful,
location.
stunning, absolutely stunning. After like Michael Brennan and his family stayed there shortly after we went, and he was just like, "Wow, this place is unbelievable." So I would say my hotel desire has kind of changed, been a little bit more elevated because of you. Look, I'll still do a Hyatt centric a night before a cruise. You know, it's fine. Fort
I don't
Lauderdale.
consider that real focus service anymore.
Okay, sure,
It's
sure.
like it's a hybrid, like kind of like your Hilton Garden Inn Courtyard. Like it's this hybrid of
Right, right.
It's
So I would say those are kind of my main things, and I guess 3 maybe would be. I mean, Haley, you should remember. I mean, well, you and I both used to do just a lot of Caribbean, slash Bahamas cruises, like all the time, like once a month. I felt like we were on, some type of Caribbean Bahamas, right? And now we're just kind of doing more things. So those are kind of my 3, right? So
So
what are yours?
Journey with Josh says going out and partying in cities. I'm too old for that. You need to just travel with Jason. Jason will find something. Lorette says she used to be okay with balcony cabins on a cruise, but now I want a suite. So for me, this one is a little trivial and it makes me laugh now. I used to love doing all my dinners in the main dining room on a cruise, like the
Oh,
sit down dinner. Loved it. Now I'm like, oh my god, it's been 2 hours. Get me out of here.
that's
Like
fair.
I am much more apt to, and I also was like, oh, the food's so good in the main dining room. Why would I do specialty? But now, like, coming up on my allure sailing next week, I'm like, I don't know. Maybe I just want to do room service or get the dining package so I can get sushi to go or like I used to love it. I mean, don't get me wrong, I still love doing a sit down breakfast brunch thing. Like that will never change. I feel, but yeah, that sitting down in the main dining room and it kind of to your effect to the Caribbean cruising it sounds a little cliche. We found a great deal for this next week, but I'm just kind of like, man, if it's not for some like super cheap price, like I'd rather be spending my money elsewhere,
Right.
new things, or things that I truly love and enjoy a bit more. Like I would be more apt to spend the same amount of money doing a long weekend trip to Paris than I would a week long Caribbean cruise.
Yeah, no, I get it. I mean, don't get me wrong. Like, look, I mean, in a month from now, I'm flying to doing the edge for
Say
10
hi.
days. Oh, I mean, look, I'm in the Caribbean in a month doing a 10-night Southern Caribbean cruise. I'm excited for that, right? It's going to be relaxing. Like I really am. I really am excited to do that. So I still enjoy it. It's just, there's just some other stuff that I really want to do. So moving on. The next question is, which destination do you currently love? Haley has to go take care of the doorman very quickly. Her dogs were going crazy. So the next question is, which destination do you currently love? Well, guys, this is not going to be a surprise for you. I am still thinking about, dreaming about, little had a dream the other night that I was in the Galapagos. It still just consumes my thoughts. It has changed me. It really was just a trip of a lifetime. So Haley, while you were gone, I said, you won't be surprised. The
I already knew
destination
the
I
answer,
love
which is maybe why I got up and left.
is still, the Galapagos. And I mean, it really was just a, just a life-changing cruise. And I mean, not even call it a cruise. It was barely a cruise, a life-changing trip experience. So that's a destination that I currently love. I if I had a chance to go back next week, I swear I would. Like, I
And to
want.
preface, this is to where like the question is where you've currently been. Because I could talk about places I'd love to go and we'd be here a really long time. If I
I mean,
had
like
to,
right now, if somebody said, "Could you? I'll send you to Mykonos for a week for free, or the Galapagos a week for free," I would pick the Galapagos.
wow, those are big words. Emmy said you both loves us both. If Caribbean ship is my main port of call.
Yeah.
And Josh said again, I still want to go. Unfortunately, with my back, I'm worried I'll never get there. And Jason, that's a good little point to talk about. Jason has some videos coming up about that trip to the Galapagos and the excursions being catered based on activity level. So, Josh, make sure you're looking for that. So for me, so I haven't been to the Galapagos yet.
Oof, oof,
Um,
oof.
if I had to pick a place as a whole, it's Italy. Like I am looking at going back to Puglia possibly this summer. Like I have a client there, so I get pulled there at least once a year to do content and meet with the owners of that company. I mean, even like for example, Florence maybe not being my favorite place, like just Amalfi Coast, Cinque Terre. I'm itching to do some Lake Como stuff. I'm itching to do Sicily. Like, I really like. I just want to go spend like 2 weeks in Sicily. To be honest, that's like a
Cue the White Lotus theme song.
I know what is this? And like, like it's something that sounds like a noise that my daughter made when she was 3.
Sicily's beautiful. There's only ever been a few places that I've ever been in the world on a cruise that I was like, oh my gosh, I want to come back and stay here. Like Mykonos was one, Barcelona was one, and like Sicily.
Like, it's just I love the people. I love the culture, the food. Like, I mean, like I spent a week on the Amalfi Coast, and it is.
I love it down there too. There's so much to do. You can go, like Amalfi Coast is amazing, but you can do a day trip to Capri, right? You can go to Pompeii. You can just stay right on the Amalfi Coast. The views from like those restaurants and hotels it really is stunning.
Yeah, and I mean, and the thing is, like, Italy is also super central, so it's an easy trip to wrap in surrounding countries if need be too, because of the Med. It's the people, it's the feeling. Like, it is just something that calls me back. I am not Italian, Emmy. Actually, my family is, but I mean, I think a lot of it's the people, to be honest.
Yep.
Like, I've never really had like like I say, like the French aren't. Some people said Parisians are rude. I've never encountered that, but they're not. I almost say like a little cold. Like it's just very transactional. The Italians are just like I can't explain it. So that's kind of one of my current favorites. Okay. Jason, which hotel brand do you love?
So my favorite brand.
And to specify this, I have to add that to you. I'm not saying Hilton, Hyatt, Marriott. I am saying brand, really niched down here.
The Edition.
Same. Like I even stayed at the W Union Square down in New York because I do like a W.
I like a W.
But now I'm just kind of like. It wasn't that Edition that you and I stayed at up by Washington Square Park.
That was in like the Flatiron District, right? Area wasn't that close to that? Mm-hmm. Yeah. So I'm torn with like the only W I might pick over the Edition might be Barcelona, but I'm torn, right? Because the Edition Barcelona isn't a better location than the W, hands down. Like hands down, but it's a bit. I want the vibe of that Edition lounge that you and I had in New York in Barcelona, right? Like,
yeah,
you know what I mean? Like,
But to be fair, you and I have both done that edition in Barcelona,
Yeah,
kind of not to normal capacity
that is
time.
true. That is
Yeah.
true. But look, I mean, I'll take a nice W anywhere, right? I mean,
I don't know. I'm kind of in this place where I'm like, so I've stayed at a few W's and I've really enjoyed them. I've not stayed at the elusive one in Barcelona, but I've kind of had a little inconsistency in experiences. Like I told you, I hate that one in Fort Lauderdale Beach. Like
so,
hate it.
so this is my problem with Marriott properties.
And Hilton too, because they're and IHG even to that standard. I'll throw those three, and because I mean Hyatt's got. I'm not including that Dream Collection
Right.
hoopla. Yet 800 properties.
Right.
And that consistency is a little different, but I'm anxious to see. This is probably something we should have talked about. Little caveat in here. Hilton has come up with a new brand. I believe it's called Spark, right?
That sounds right. Yep.
Where they are selling this as an economy brand, which Hilton's never really dipped into economy, and I'm anxious to look at their version of economy.
Okay.
For these very old Hampton Inns, for example, or maybe even somebody that has like a Comfort Inn and Suites or something that's looking to convert but not spend as much as their PIP is, or maybe they want to upgrade their brand or keep the brand and not spend as much as the Hampton new upgrade would cost. And they created this product to kind of rejuvenate those versus building new, which is something I would love to see be more of a trend, because I think the more you expand a brand and you're not focusing on that upkeep, especially with how much you're changing brand standards, that's where you get this big discrepancy.
Right.
In that. So offering a conversion option, I think, is really neat. But no, you're right. Like the bigger you get, the harder it is to maintain consistency. I mean, that's the thing with my business. Like a lot of people ask me like, oh, do you ever want as many, hotels as like your old player and some of the bigger, or your old employer and some of the bigger companies? I'm like, no. There's different, pillars of revenue that I'm trying to do that differentiate us. But I don't think I can maintain the consistency in product that I serve at a scale of 1,000 hotels.
So another one I'm going to throw out here. It's one of my favorite places to go in Nashville. Never stayed there as a guest. Is the Thompson, right? Which is the Hyatt, right?
Mm-hmm.
Thompson Hotel is my favorite brunch spot. One of my favorite rooftop bars. Like I just love one of the Thompson. And so before our Alaska cruise, I got a chance to stay at a Thompson and loved it. So I'm going to try to find some more Thompson properties. It's a little harder to find, especially when you're in Europe.
I think Thompson's a great equivalent to a W and a little bit more of a smaller version.
A lot smaller.
Well, I mean, the one in Nashville's kind of big, though.
Yeah, but like, it doesn't have like the W next door in Nashville where you stayed has just a lot more of like venues. Like they've got two
like that's
big.
Probably my favorite W, to be honest, is that one.
That's a nice one. That one or the Barcelona, right? Like the W in Nashville's got two big restaurants, a big lobby bar, and a big rooftop bar and a pool. The Thompson in Nashville has.
I think where I've struggled on that though is leaning more towards an addition. Is with an addition, it is resoundingly apparent why the addition costs that amount of money. Even though I stay on like an employee rate, like the turn down service, that glass water bottles and glass cups on your nightstand. Like
I'll go a step further. You walk in the lobby of any addition, and it's stunning. I mean, I've stayed at 3, Miami.
It's
Barcelona.
Stunning. It's the customer service, attention to detail. I struggle with that in a W.
That's fair. That's fair. That's fair.
I got super analytical on that, but that's
no. I mean, that's fair. That's fair. All right, moving on.
Loving the addition now.
We agree on that. Okay, so here's a question, Haley.
Questions in here. Okay, lay it on me.
What is something that you love so much and you always pack on a trip?
Well, we know this isn't going to be just one thing. It's going to be a couple things. Um, One is my skincare, like a sheet mask and like the under eye things. Like that is an absolute must for me. Like flying is dehydrating. Even, flying to Texas later this week, like I may not use it in plane, but as soon as I get to the hotel, it's a
Yep.
sheet mask right on the face and go. I have this one battery pack that can charge my phone 6 times.
That's impressive.
That one's a must. And honestly, the other thing, this is gonna sound super corny, I know I've mentioned on here, it's my pop-up hamper.
Okay.
I love that, especially for a long trip, kind of keeping things organized. I know people are like, oh, just throw it back in your suitcase. I'm like, I don't want to keep like pulling it out from wherever it is, because depending on where you are, like, the addition in Barcelona, the storage space is very little, so to keep pulling my suitcase out, I don't want to do that. But yeah, so I think those would be my like 3 things that I have to pack. What about you?
So I have a practical answer and then a little bit more of a silly answer. So my practical answer is I used to always, I had a pair of AirPods like everybody else, and then I would have like a pair of Beats over the head, earphone for the flights. And I would only really ever use those big headphones for flights because of the noise cancellation. Well, when Apple came out with AirPods Pro 2, I was skeptical because I had bought the first version of AirPods Pro and I didn't like them. The tips hurt my ears. I just didn't like them. With AirPods Pro 2, Apple's like, hey, we've come out with another size of the tips, like extra small. We've redesigned them. We are confident more people are going to be able to use and enjoy AirPods Pro with the second generation. I was skeptical, but I bought them. I am in love with these things. I no longer bring my Beats on a plane. The noise cancellation with the AirPods Pro 2 is so good. I said I need to sell my Beats. Like I never even. I mean, they're probably dead right now.
I need to try them next month because I'm afraid to commit. Because I do love the over the ear beads because I like to cancel out the world. Like, Jeff even has like these Bose ones or some brand, and they're just not anywhere near my over the ear ones. Like, I want to forget the world exists when I have them.
These are unbelievable. Now, I mean, do I think the Beats cancels it maybe a little bit more? There's literally physics of the padding around the ear. Yes, but I get sweaty. I wear glasses, so it's always pushing against it. I mean, I'm obsessed with these, right? I mean, if I lost these today, I'd buy a new pair. I am upset. AirPods Pro 2nd gen. I cannot recommend.
You need to knock on some wood because I've seen you lose AirPods.
I go through them like once. I've held on to these for a while. So second thing. So this is kind of a vanity thing. So trip or a story before my trip to the Galapagos, I called Haley and I said, Haley, should I bring my Apple Watch to track my hikes and the snorkeling, how much activity I'm doing? Or should I bring one of my really nice watches that's made to be in the water? I bought it to get in the ocean. And she was like, Jason, you're not going to bring your Apple Watch, right? You're just not. Why do you even ask? You're going to bring one of your Omegas. Like, why do you even call me? So I would say vanity wise, I think it's cool to have something that, is going to outlive me, like, one of my watches and almost like memories in it. So, we're literally snorkeling in the Galapagos and I take the GoPro and I'm over there like, filming my watch underwater. Like what we did in Hawaii.
Was it the Seamaster or the Speedy?
It was no, Speedmaster would never be in the water. Never.
I'm sorry.
Never. So I think it's cool to have something super mechanical in our very digital world. So I would say my vanity pack is always going to be some of my watches. Galapagos, I took just one, which was kind of hard for me. But it was kind of cool to get in the ocean where it was like made to be. So
is that the one you wore in Hawaii?
Yeah, the blue one. Yeah.
I appreciate that, and I've kind of shifted now, in kind of in this light, not to pack, but I used to, always look for some like T-shirt or something like that when I was souvenir shopping. I don't do that anymore. I have kind of shifted to buying an actual product that I will kind of use on the daily or for something special. Like when I was in Positano, I had those sandals with the Swarovski crystals made to my foot. When I was in Rome this last time, I went in this little shoe store and bought an authentic Italian handmade pair of heels to come home. Um, Kind of those kind of memories and that vanity. That's more of my vibe, and that's kind of what your watch reminded me of.
Well, it's funny. So you're saying I shouldn't have bought just the random thing for my desk,
I'm not even going to talk about that.
or the
Um,
turtle on my desk.
so Jason, I loved this, love section. We do have a question of the day before we get to our tips, which is our last piece.
We do.
How has your disposition towards travel changed since 2019?
Easy. Experiences matter to me more than traveling for the sake of traveling. Right? I used to
Yeah.
travel just to travel. And look, there's still sometimes I still do, right? I mean, occasionally I'm like, oh, I'll do the XSX cruise. The friends ask me to go, or I'll go do this. But I'm really trying to have experiences with my travels. So that's the easy answer. You?
For me, I'm a lot more choosy with how I'm traveling. Part of that being I travel more for work now. So at least every year I have 9 work trips on
Okay.
the minimum. And I've had to be a lot more choosy with what I'm doing and where, because there are times I'm just on the road so much that I'm kind
Right.
of like, I need to slow down and be home for a hot second. As much as I love being on the road, on the go, I want to be home. And if I'm going elsewhere, it's going to be something amazing or just a really damn good price to get away and breathe for a hot second because work is so suffocating.
I get it. No, those are great. And guys, before we go, Haley has a really great travel tip, especially with the start of the year.
Yes, and this travel tip is because Jeff hasn't picked his Delta
What?
option yet, and
I
he's like,
as
I
soon
don't
as I
even
got the
know where.
email, I was like checking it.
So to be fair, I know that I have to. I haven't made my selection because there's something I actually want to talk to you
Okay.
about.
Okay.
Um, because I'm kind of caught between two things that I never thought I would be
Okay.
before. But I asked him, I was like, hey, did you pick yours? Yeah, and he goes, oh, I don't even know where to find them. And I was like, so you guys need to go in if you have loyalty statuses that come with perks. This could be Platinum Elite with Marriott. Like I picked my perk of getting 5 one-night suite upgrade certificates.
Mm,
There's a
that's a
couple
nice one.
other things that you can pick. Delta, when you're platinum and above, you have to pick your choice benefit, which are upgrade vouchers or a travel voucher or Sky Miles or gifting somebody silver medallion status, which I think is the most worthless thing you can give somebody. I struggle finding a place where that's like,
if you just had a lot of money and you're always booking first class, status doesn't really matter. And if you wanted to like give a child or a grandchild who's traveling to college and back a
that
lot,
is the most far-fetched like thing I could think of for that one. I don't know. But
I almost think they give you that option just to like they think you have more choice and more options than you
yeah,
really do.
and with that same vanity is also check to see where you have leftover certificates from canceled trips or whatnot and see when they're expiring. So a lot of these have expired. So make sure you know what's in your travel bank.
No, that is great. Well, guys, 2 weeks in a row, we went kind of long, so hope you didn't mind. We had some great stuff. Haley, I loved it, loved it, loved it. Make sure to join our Facebook community, todayintravel.live. Guys, we'll be back next week. Haley?
I might not be here depending on service, so it might just be you.
That is okay. Well, Haley, happy Valentine's Day. And guys, hope you have a great day.